All right, I'm ready.
All right, we'll call to order.
All right, Hopkins.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
Bellfeld. Yeah. Moreno.
Yes.
Vargas.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, this is the time when community members can make public comments to the board. Please be aware that the board cannot comment on anything that is said during this time. This is the only time in the agenda reserved for open public comments. We will limit the comments to 30 minutes. Please limit your comments to 4. No one's here, so we move on to central administration fundraising requests.
Yeah, list of fundraising requests there, dance team, high school football, cheerleading, high school student council. Most, few of them are renewals, all of them should be in the packet. Recommend to approve.
My only question on the fundraising requests, I noticed a lot of them were like we're way late to the game on them. And while I definitely approve of all of them personally, it does bring up the thought of like, what if somebody did one they already did it and we're like, nah, that really doesn't align with our values. Like, I worry that it opens a door.
Yeah, some of these, the ones that were way late, they were in an administrator's hands before, but giving it to the board just didn't happen in time, so somebody saw it, I guess I could say, but yeah, that is something that I will make sure they're aware, you know. Tell them more than once, hey, we need these before they happen, kind of thing. I know it was kind of hard too this summer where we didn't have as many meetings. So that always is a problem, but yeah, definitely something we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, none of these do I have any problems with. Definitely support them all. And I don't think in my tenure that I've run into one that we don't support, but there will be one maybe eventually.
All right, a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Overnight trips.
Yeah, this is just to make the board aware, FFA Nationals will be taking approximately 20 FFA students October 28th through the 31st to the National FFA Convention. Registration hotel is paid by a student, the district FFA account pays for transportation. And Zach and Elise will be supervising that. The next one.
Sure. So for an open enrollment, 90-day waiver of the ineligibility for activities. So this is a student I believe went to Columbus, from Nichols to Columbus, and they moved, or was living in Columbus, moved to Nichols, but then open enrolled to Lone Tree. So we've not had this child here in our district, but they requested that we waive the 90 days ineligibility. Then if our board approves that, then we'll go to the Lone Tree board for approval.
I would make a motion to approve the waiving of the 90-day period.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Says me riveting information. That's why I'm here. I figured. So, just reviewing certified annual report and some of the fiscal indicators. So this was due today, certified on Friday. with this, the special ed supplement as well as the transportation report. First thing we look at is revenues year over year. So just looking at overall revenues, they did increase due to pretty much increase due to enrollment. I would expect fairly consistent revenue next year, because we did have a drop in enrollment, but it kind of balances out with the increase in SSA. Wasn't expecting much of an increase in revenue, if any, for fiscal year 25, just due to all those COVID ESSER funds that we've had the past few years. So alone in 24, over $800,000 of that revenue was actually ESSER funds. So this fiscal year 25 and going forward, those numbers are no longer going to be inflating our revenues or expenses. It's easier to kind of look at it, have a better idea of how that's going to move based on enrollment the next, down the line. So the increase in enrollment and SSA of 2.5% for fiscal year 25, plus that increase in teacher salary supplement for those teacher salaries that obviously helped bring up our revenue as well. So nothing unexpected there. So on the other side of that, expenses, our increase in expenses was slightly more than our increase in revenue. So 1.78% increase in revenue, 1.98% increase in expenses. Again, not a surprise. We were expecting that and kind of planning for that. But as you can see, the last 3 years, our expenses have been more than our revenues. So as we do want to spend down the balance, as we've talked many times, we have a large unspent balance that we need to do something with. That's what they give us the money to support our students and our staff, so that we want to use it. We just have to figure out how to do that in the best way possible without all of a sudden just going downhill fast. So like I said, one-time expenses are the ones that are going to be easier to control and help spend that down. Compounding expenses, those teacher salaries, makes it harder because, each year they're going to get higher. And so we kind of have to watch that balance. So along with that, the unspent authorized budget. So the biggest thing the DE Department of Ed really looks at, this is the number they care about the most. So the board goals between 15 and 25%. As you can see, we're still quite a bit above that. 34.1% is fiscal year 25. Forecasting forward, obviously you see that red line taking a downward trend pretty quickly. And this is assuming 0 student growth. It's assuming only a 2% increase in expenses year over year. And it's assuming a 2% SSA increase every year. All of those are very volatile. We don't really know. Even a little change in one of those changes this. So trying to be conservative, but yet realistic at the same time. So our UAB did decrease over last year. And I would say a majority of that's attributable to, as you'll see in my next item, the special ed deficit. So that did decrease by about 300,000, which is good. But so special ed deficit, we are allowed to ask for more spending authority. We don't get cash for it, but we can ask to spend it. So last year, you can see our UAB went up, and that was because our special ed deficit went up. So we were able to ask for more spending authority. But again, there's no cash that comes behind that. So that will play into the solvency ratio I'm going to talk about next. But again, just another metric we really have to pay attention to, because if this one goes negative, we're in trouble. This is when the Department of Ed, makes you come and talk and what you're going to do to change it, kind of thing that some districts around us have had to do. So then the next is solvency ratio. So this is looking at cash. So it's the financial measure that provides a picture of cash resources on hand. And this is where I talk about, our board goal is 15% plus or minus 3. So we're at 23.3% for fiscal year 25. Still above that, but this is one that is gonna go down. It's gonna go negative, and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. And that's because you have to get below 20% in order to have a cash reserve levy. As you can see, we're still not below that. So when I go to budget and set the tax rate this next spring for fiscal year 27, we're looking at fiscal year 25 data, so it lags. So until most likely this is going to be below 20% for fiscal year 26. So then we're not going to be able to have a cash reserve levy until fiscal year 2028. So it's always behind. We've never had this since I've been here, obviously, with all of the extra funding, but this is something that has happened here in the past. And so we'll probably have to look at doing some type of line of credit with our bank. State aid comes in September through June. So those July, August months are the months where we're usually shorter on cash because we're still paying out salaries, but yet we're not getting that state aid to back it up. So that is something we will probably have to do until we're able to have that cash reserve levy again. Small, but just required to show a full year treasurer's report each year. One of the requirements, and this is something I show every month. I provide the treasurer's report on a monthly basis. So this is just the full year, showing those cash balances. As you can see, nothing surprising, but general fund cash balance obviously dropped because our expenses are going up and we use cash to pay for things. And then changes in ending fund balance. Again, nothing that is surprising as far as what we budgeted for. That general fund balance decreasing some, but still keeping an eye on that. And, you know we planned for that, I guess, this is what I can say. Student activity, it's always nice to see that, because that's one where we, struggle as officials, and all those things get more expensive, and the admission to games doesn't usually always make up for that. Trying to come up with new ways to bring in revenue to that, such as the Common Activities Network sponsorships and stuff like that. So that's nice to see an increase there. Management fund, and we levy directly for that based on our property casualty insurance. Save, expected that it went down. We cash flowed that whole project, the initial fields, so we were spending now cash there. And same with, actually, that would have been happening then, so that's why Pebble doesn't show as big of a, more shows an increase, because we were using some of that as well. Debt service, that doesn't really tell us much, because that's just the leftovers from after paying our bonds. Food service dropped just a tad, which we're
That's
going
wrap
for.
around preschool.
Wrap
too.
around preschool, yes. So that is just the portion of preschool that that second half of the day up for parents that have to pay tuition. So no, the Head Start funding or anything like that. It's just strictly those kids that stay for this. And food service, we're trying to, we've been trying to make some more equipment purchases, as that number has been pretty large the last few years. Since COVID, we got some extra funding. So that's another one we're trying to, really look at, because technically you're only supposed to hold 3 months worth of expenses in your balance. We don't want you having a bunch in there. So trying to come up with ways to spend that down as well. Internal service, so that's actually the account that now our partially self-funded insurance goes in. So that's that extra, the difference between what we're paying to Wellmark and that extra money we're holding on to be able to pay the other part of those claims from employees. So that is a positive, because as that grows, that helps us be able to, okay, we might get a bigger increase from Wellmark, we can kind of not pass that on to our employees as much because we have this money that we're saving from doing that. And the scholarship, I think that's really just student council, is the main thing. Student council does a scholarship with their blood drives, so. Other than that, just some goals, kind of a lot of the same as last year, but yeah, continue to review those, the budget in those targeted areas, manage solvency and UAB as we're another year out from the COVID funding. Some of those categorical funds that we're able to use for the same purposes we used the COVID funding for, now we're able to kind of focus on spending those down because those weren't getting spent at that point. Again, continue to monitor Pebble and save cash flows monthly as we start this last project. And evaluate budgets and all funds, tighten up on any, extra purchases. And then, yeah, highlight the great things here. I think our communications committee has been doing a good job of posting more positive things and just helping us get the word out. We've been able to get teachers to come here and stay. We had a way lower turnover this past year, which is positive. So I think that helps just everything. Any questions?
Does anyone have any more questions? Good. All right, a motion to approve. I'll approve. And second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now the
Right. Or, yeah, the special ed supplement. It's really small. But I have them. I still. Okay, so last year our deficit was the 899, 680. And this year we ended at a negative 595, 366. Obviously still large, but huge improvement. A lot of that, if you look at line items here, our special ed count went up, so we're bringing in more money. And that also lags, so you're paying your salaries and benefits this year, but you're really counting the special ed kids you had prior, so that kind of has to catch up as well. And as we've identified more, it's taken a little bit to catch up, so that that revenue number coming in has grown, so 66%. And that was another thing, we were bringing in more open enrolled in students that we're billing for. The amount we were getting from other districts increased quite a bit, as well as money we were sending out for open enrolled out students, special ed students, that went down, so that helped as well. Other items were pretty expected. One thing, and then the other thing was contracted services. So we were paying the AEA for a student, basically a student to be here full time, or a person to be with a student full time from the AEA. So that contracted services number down below. The year before we were at 61,000, and this year it was 16,000. So another big decrease in those expenses. And then looking to the future, expected to be around to drop another about $100,000 for that deficit. So that's always a positive. And I think I've kept, that's based on keeping, oh no, we do have the counts for next year, so that is on there. And then I just kept the counts the same for fiscal year 27 for the estimate, so could change as well, but I thought that was positive to drop that much in the deficit and still being able to serve our kids.
Does that count like when you're talking like the staff, does it count? 'Cause I know, special ed with paras, is that,
Yes.
did that go down? Did we have less paras for the special ed, or was that not really what that was?
I wouldn't say, I wouldn't
That was
say
about the
so.
same. The staff
Yeah.
stayed about the same.
Yeah. I think really being able to count those students that paras were actually working with finally caught up, we
Okay.
were, I feel like a couple of years ago, we had to employ a lot more on those one-on-ones, and then we finally are getting
Getting
to
paid.
realize some of that revenue for it, yeah. That was a big part of it. And then, yeah, like I said, those other few items helped. And we hopefully shouldn't need that contracted service for, unless another student comes across that needs it, but that's a big savings as well.
Anyone else have any questions? All right, motion to approve.
Make a motion.
A second,
A second.
all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Approve the request for modified allowable growth act. Is that you two again, Abby?
It's the same thing, so it's that number, I said the $595,366, so. We have to have the board's approval in order to ask for the spending authority.
All right, so a motion to approve.
I'll move.
A second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we have a few accommodations. Mr. Ryan sent to me this year, our teacher team started a new journey, becoming a professional learning community at work or PLC's work school. This has required our guiding coalition members to take on more responsibilities and lead their individual teams in a process that we have not used universally before. They've put in a ton of work this past summer and at the start of the school year to learn about how to lead PLC's at work process. We appreciate their dedication to our students and colleagues and look forward to watching them continue to learn and grow this year and the years to come. Then Mr. Gins sent me, want to put in a big shout out to our middle school PLC teams and leaders for their hard work in adopting and implementing the PLC process. We're at the beginning stages of the process, and the willingness to adapt and push the learning is inspiring. We're all looking forward to the positives this will bring for our students. Seen a little theme there. Mrs. Arthur Miller, big shout out to the student council and sponsor Meredith Shands. The building is decorated and in great spirit colors. The week looks to be full of activities. Tim Foley, Paul Mortensen, and Mike Hunnard have a solid cross-country team that is setting new records with each meet, which is nice to see, in big numbers, I believe, as well. They just continue to grow. Ms. Forbes has started to put up artwork in the hallways, and it has been a strong start to the school year, and we are thankful for the staff we have in the building. I just want to add on to the PLC work. It is hard work. It's a lot. It's good work. It's collaboration, bringing teachers together, teams together to really focus on student achievement and just how can we continually grow and improve at getting better at meeting students' needs. And it doesn't come easy, right? I mean, teachers have to do a lot of work, really identify, target specific needs. Through assessments, then they have to look at the data, then they have to try to change their instruction then to meet those children's needs. Schedules might change, they have to find creative ways to have time to work one-on-one with kids, to get their paraeducators involved. So I mean, it takes a lot of timing, planning, prep, but hopefully, and I truly believe they're all seeing the value in that, and I think we'll continue to see the value in that and just the growth of this work as we move forward. And kudos to our admin team. We have an awesome team of administrators, and they're really taking the lead and just helping their campuses, their paras teachers to grow in the work that they do. So they're doing a fantastic job of leading their individual campuses, guiding coalitions, and supporting. It takes time. Takes resources, and then trainings, and, it's just a ongoing process. So it's not just a, overnight one and done type thing. This is just something that we'll continue to work on. You'll continue to hear about this for years to come. So just again, kudos to all of them, for their dedication and hard work, as we move forward with this process. Also, switching gears here, moving on to capital projects, we should be closed out with Knudsen soon. That was our general contractor with that athletic complex. We still have some donor signage left. That's on us. And so, we are planning on putting up a large, donor sign just past the ticket booth. There's kind of a rocky area there, and that's our little donor area. We have some bricks that Adam's been, I think, getting donations for as well, little pavers that will go in that area. So the sign is in the works, through a company called Varsity Group. And so hopefully they, get us those renderings, we get that approved, get that signed. Love to have it installed yet this fall. Don't know if that'll happen or not. I know they're busy, but, it should be very nice once we get that in. As we wrap up the athletic complex, we're anxiously waiting bids for our final phase of our capital projects, which is our activities building. We just met today at our pre-bid meeting with various contractors. This room was packed, which was a great sign. Great sign. Yeah, it was, every seat was taken with various contractors. So a lot of good questions. One thing we did decide to do from that meeting, I'm glad this came up, was our original bid opening date was set for October 2nd at 11. And so ended up moving that per their recommendations, due to other bid conflicts, to Wednesday, the day before that, October 1st at 2. They felt we'll get more bids by doing that. It's a crazy process, in the way it works, and so yeah. So anyway, I think this will help us out, in receiving more competitive bids. So very excited about that. Let's see. And then last, it's homecoming week. Woohoo! Exciting time of the school year for students, staff, and our community. So just fun to see kids participating in school spirit, dress up days, decorating. We'll have our parade Wednesday, the powder puff stuff, the pep rally, band games, football game Friday. I mean, just a super fun week for the kids, for the staff, I believe, as well, and then for our community. So yeah, hopefully we get a nice W to cap the activities there Friday night. So I have any questions over any of that? Thanks.
And then just like a consent agenda.
Yes, still have minutes from the last couple meetings. Warrants were all in there. The treasurer's report, and then we have a few coaching.
I had a question about the assistant varsity softball coach. Is she also going to be the JV coach, or are we still hiring the JV coach?
That was like Mel.
Yeah, she's going to take Mel's job as JV as well.
Yeah, they always call it just assistant. varsity,
Okay,
but
yeah, I was
really-
just wanted to make sure we weren't adding it. For
Yep.
position.
Yeah, no, that's taking hers, so.
All right, I'm motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
All right, future agenda items. Next regular school board meeting will be October 6th, and with the superintendent report, certified enrollment, and first reading of policies 200 to 206. A motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
6:27, 26, 29.
One of them.
One of them.